Welcome to C programming tutorial. Um, this tutorial is kind of continuation of the previous tutorial where I explained the concept of an array. In this tutorial we are going to do some coding related to arrays. We will write a program that would do something, and before I explain what the program is going to do, let me say this again. If you came here from Facebook, please make sure that you become the fan of the page Awesome C Programming Tutorials in High Def. If you are watching it, if you like YouTube to watch the videos on YouTube, then please subscribe to this channel, Learnorama. And basically, the reason I'm telling you this is because this way, if as soon as I post any new tutorial, you will be notified and you could watch those tutorials. Okay, so let's get started. So after we learned about arrays, which are basically a collection of variables, kind of, with one single name, and you access individual elements using the indices, using the index of that element. So given that, let's try to write a program. Suppose that we have a classroom which has 6 students. I just picked the number 6 students. And we want to write a program that will ask for each of the students' age, okay, and then it will print out the average age of the class. Okay, so very simple. Just ask for the ages of each of the 6 students, and then we are going to take the compute the average of all those ages. Okay, so how do we do that? Since we have 6 same kind of variables or 6 same kind of fields to store some data, which is age. Okay, 6 different ages we have to store. So what do? We use arrays. When this happens, what do? You use arrays. Okay, so let's declare array named age, and how many elements it will have? 6 elements. Okay, very simple. So let's see, what are we going to do next? We are going to ask the user to input 6 ages. So how can we do that? You could basically write something like this. Okay, for the element 0, then the same thing for element 1, and the same thing for element 2, okay, and the same thing for element 3. We could do, ask for individual values. We could do that too. Or if you can see, there is a repeated work that we are doing here. The only thing which is changing is this variable right here. So what do? We basically use what is called loop, because we have to do something repeatedly. Okay, now we can use a loop. And how do we use the loop? We basically, which loop we want to use? Do we have to do this fixed number of times? The answer is yes. We have to get 6 values of age, of children's age, right? So we have to do it fixed number of times. When you have to do something repeatedly fixed number of times, best thing to do is to use the for loop. And if you don't know about for loop, please go back and you will see a link in the description of this video, where it will point you to the playlist of all the tutorials in this series, and look up the for loop tutorial. Okay, so this is how we are do. In for loop, we have a counter that we basically initialize to some value, so which would be the first value of that counter. So what would be the first value? 0. Okay, and then remember, the array's indices start from 0 and they go up to 1 less than the total number of elements here. So here the total number of elements are 6. Okay, the total number of elements is 6. So the indices range from 0 to 5. Okay, so count is equal to 0, and then the condition that for which the for loop will continue to execute, which is basically we want count to go from 0 to 5. Okay, so for count is less than, for as long as count is less than equal to 5. Okay, or you can call is less than 6, which is the same as less than equal to 5, and every time when the loop iterates, when the loop is going to run, we will have to keep incrementing the count by 1. Okay, so this is our for loop start, and inside the body of the for loop, what are we going to do? We are going to do this, do the thing that we have to do repeatedly. And what is that thing? We have to get the input from the user. The only difference is that instead of using 0, 1, 2, 3 here, I'm going to use the variable count. So yes, the index of an array could be a variable, so that as the variable changes, you could access the different elements of count. So as the, of the array. So as the variable count changes from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3, you basically are accessing the element age, age 0, age 1, age 2, age 3, and so on. Okay, so now don't forget to output some message. Enter age of student, okay, %d, comma, okay, sorry, yeah, %d, and then we want to put the ID of the student, which is the index itself, 0, 1, 2. So it will say enter age of student 0, enter age of student 1, enter age of student 2, and so on. And this for loop will do the work of all these statements. Here in this example, there are only 6 students. There could be 100 students, or 1,000 students, or the students in the entire city, millions of students. You don't want to be writing one line of code for each and every student. You want to write a for loop. So no matter how big the number of students are, all we need to do is to change this number. From 6 to 100, it will ask for 100 values. Obviously, we don't have time to enter 100 values here, so we are not going to do that. So we will leave it to 6. Okay. What do we do next? We have to compute the average. How do we compute average? We basically sum all those ages together, and then we divide it by the sum, by the total number of elements, which is 6. Okay. So how do we compute the entire sum? So simply, what do we need to do? We need to basically, let's see. So we have 6 elements here, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So what do we need to do? We need to add this. So in other words, we have to just access these numbers one more time. When we were entering the values here, we accessed all these numbers using this here. We access them one more time, and we basically keep adding them. So what do? We start with some variable called sum, which will have this sum of all these numbers, okay, and then we'll set it to 0, and then we put this into sum, then add this number into sum, then add this number into sum, and then add this number into sum. And how do we do that? Of course, very simple. We use the for loop again, because we have to access all those elements one more time, just like we accessed before. So what do? For count is equal to count 0, count less than 6, count plus plus. Sum is equal to sum plus age of count, whatever the current age value is. Okay. So I think I am running out of time here. So how about we continue this in the next video? Okay, don't forget to watch it. Thank you so much.